Are you ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time to get warrior tough. Here's Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. Dutch.
All right, it's time to get warrior tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. We're your leadership and mental toughness coaches, Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman.
What's happening?
I know you're in a thunderstorm up there, Dutch, right?
Oh man, it's a crazy thunderstorm, man. It's out of control. It's beautiful though. I mean, it's lighting up the night. And
you said you're never scared of it. You're just impressed, right? Is that what?
Oh yeah, I marvel at nature. I pray that I don't get in its way. But it's all good, man.
Nice.
I love it.
All right, so hey, if you want to join the conversation, use the hashtag GetWarriorTough on Twitter. That's GetWarriorTough. That's the hashtag. You can find Dutch at @DutchColeman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD. You can go to the website. You should be there right now if you're listening to us live at GetWarriorTough.com. You can also download the app, both the Apple and the Android app, and you could listen to us anywhere. Just keep us in your pocket. Listen to us at any time, day or night. It's streaming 24/7 on the Get Warrior Tough network. Dutch, it's pretty exciting. You and I have come together. We put our heads together. We created this Get Warrior Tough Media, and we put the network together. We've got the show running on it. We got the YouTube channel up. We got the podcast going. So things are happening, man. I'm excited about what we got coming.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm enjoying this ride. This is just the beginning. So we're on a roller coaster where it first starts ascending, except for it's never going to go down. It's going to just keep going up into outer space. So we're good to go. That's
good fun. Good fun. All right. So this week I was up in Annapolis, right? So I didn't stop and get any crab because I know that's what you love. So I didn't do it. I did not get any crab because I knew I didn't want you to be like, "Hey, Dutch, man, I got some Maryland crabs. What up?" But so it was good. I had a good trip, made it back, and this weekend, Dutch, it's really Get Warrior Tough weekend at the Wittman household because my oldest son, Drew, he is reporting to the Citadel on Saturday morning to matriculate and starting his knob year. Big deal, huge deal. I'm so proud of him. I'm so excited for him. I wish I could go. Do you think if I shaved my head and shaved my beard, I could pass as a knob?
I don't know about passing as a knob,
no.
But if you keep everything, you could look like you run the joint.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to go be a person. It's just reminded me when I was 18, and I stood on the little yellow footprints, not that far from the Citadel down there at Paris Island, just another hour or so south. But that's why I'm so confident in Drew and our prep time that we've done. His whole life he's been prepared for this. And I was, my mom and dad were missionaries. We didn't know, that's why I joined the Marine Corps, because mental toughness I was the epitome of mental softness and kind of physical softness too. I was squishy and puffy. I was like the Stay Puft Marshmallow guy from Ghostbusters. Right. And I loved every second of what I got down there. I was ready for it. I just couldn't wait to get it, and I embraced it. So, and I know he's so far ahead of me at that age, and I know he's just going to do fantastic. I'm so excited for him. It's just going to be wow. Plus, it's all the military stuff. Plus, he's going to get an education, right? He's getting his degree in mechanical engineering. So it's like double shot Tuesday.
Absolutely. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Our kids are supposed to have it easier. They're supposed to have a smoother transition. They're supposed to know more. They're supposed to be set up better for success. No matter what you went through, they should be one step higher in every category because of you and what you went through. So
right,
you've done your job.
Yeah, and I'm confident in that. I really am, because I look at him and I look at his brother and his sister. I know they'll be ready to go when they're 18. And Kimmy and I were talking about it. It's a little listen, we don't. As parents, you look at him, you're like, man, we're gonna miss him around the house. But at the same time, I got plans for his room, so he need to get going, man. I know, right? I love you, Drew Dog.
Yeah, I know, right?
I really don't have plans for his room, but we were.
But you never let them know that. You always make them think you.
He said he's like, yeah, I don't care, just as long as you don't throw out my my Batman stuff, because the whole room is like Batman stuff. I'm like, no, man, I got a lot of money in that Batman stuff because I paid for a lot of it. He's got this huge, like 3 foot tall, Batman that I found when I don't know where I was, Kansas, I think I saw it, and I got it for him for Christmas one year. It's just really cool. So, and it has his wrestling medals on it, actually. It's hanging around Batman's neck. So anyway, we're not going to throw out all that stuff, man. But it is cool. So I'm very excited, though. I really am. Now, listen, Dutch. This week, this is our bread and butter. These next 2 weeks, every 4 years, right? When the Olympics come around, because it's Mental Toughness City, and this is where you can't help but be confronted with mental toughness, both by, and I know you want to talk about the fans' lack of mental toughness, which we used to talk about on WCCP a lot, right?
Right.
And then, but also the performers, and it's just really cool to see young people grab a process, do the process that we're talking about, and then take it to the successful level of the world stage. It's really cool. I love it.
It's beautiful. We don't seem as patriotic as the rest of the nation. As the rest of the world in the off season of the Olympics. Like we don't pay nearly as much attention to the World Championships and other things as the other nations do. But when the Olympics come around, we get dialed in. I mean, we really get dialed in, and we go all in as a nation, and everyone's watching, everyone's talking about it. So I'm proud that we do that, and so our patriotism is no longer questioned every 4 years.
Yeah, you're right. Now I just got a text from Kimmy that said, now that Drew's out, maybe you don't have to sleep in the basement anymore when you come, Dutch. No, he's still sleeping in the basement until I get a room in his house. If I'm still in the basement there, you're still in the basement here, buddy.
We don't have any beds that can fit you, though.
Yeah, I know, right? You put me flat on the floor. I had to bring my sleeping bag. Right, so I know. Don't even get me started on that. It's 3 miles one way, uphill both ways. Actually, get a cup of coffee. It's just ridiculous over there. And there's no heat, none. So,
oh man, that is funny.
I know, right? Okay, so listen, last night you and I were on the coaching call, so I didn't really get to see any of the Michael Phelps or the Katie Ledecky swims or whatever in real time, right? But the one I did see after all of our coaching calls were done was the 4x200. Right,
that's the only one I got to see because
of the coaching calls, right? So. They're all. I mean, I'm pumped. Now, the cool thing about this is now we all know Ryan Lochte, right? And we all know Michael Phelps, but these two younger guys, Connor Dwyer and is it Townley Haas?
Lacrosse?
Haas, Haas.
You mean the American? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the American Townley.
Yes.
Tourney Haas or whatever. So these young kids, they're young, and they didn't compete. They dominated. Like it was over by the time Lochte got in the pool, it was over. But then when Phelps got there, I mean, it was like, dude, I could have swam that and probably, all right, not that good. But anyway, it was really. But now, while all this drama's going on, and they're trying to get the old man because Phelps is old, man. He's 31. He's old. I'm like, I'm 50. He's not old. He's 31, man. He's So, but he's just swam that 200, and he's tired. We don't know what he has in the tank, so everybody's trying to get him a lead, and then he puts his swim cap on, and it rips.
Right
before he gets on
beautiful.
The block, right? So this is mental toughness, man. What do you panic? Well, he's like, hey, he calls Dwyer, get over here and give me your cap. I need a cap, right? Now, listen, this young kid Dwyer. No, he is a Speedo endorsee, right? So he's endorsed by Speedo. Michael Phelps, not so much.
Right.
Okay, they split after the 2012 Olympics. It was a kind of a blow up, DUI, blah blah blah. You don't wear our stuff. That kid was so smart. He turns the swim cap inside out and then puts it on Phelps' head, and the Phelps like, all right, I got it. But I mean, just to have the wherewithal. Okay, not only is the gold medal on the line, right, for the last 5 Olympics or whatever, you're the new kid. You got the granddaddy, the GOAT, supposedly, whatever that, the greatest of all time. Michael, he really is, actually. I mean, just the facts. He's got more. I heard, dude, that if by country, he's if he was a country, he'd be number 11 on the all-time list of medals. There's only 10 countries that have more medals than Michael Phelps, man. Okay, so this is awesome.
Funny.
Right. So, but to have that wherewithal that we're still, making sure that there's no embarrassment of Michael Phelps by wearing, the wrong logo. I just, it's just, to keep your wits about you and to think logically and not be sucked into the emotion of being on the world's greatest days and not choking. It was an amazing thing for me to watch, bro.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's one thing those guys are savvy about, it's sponsors and it's dollars, because that they kind of exist having to hustle. It's not like the NBA. where you sign these major contracts or NFL and all. These are like independent contractors
Right.
who have to go out there and prove their metal. They have to go out there and hit the streets.
And they got to sell the deal, man. They got to sell themselves and sell the deal. Otherwise, they don't eat.
So they have that savvy. So when it came to a sponsor, when it came to that, whether it's an emblem, a shield, a name, they know the deal. So he knew right away that he had to take care of that. And I guarantee you they're much more savvy when it comes to that than any NBA or NFL, or than the average. I say the average NBA or NFL.
Because that's their bread and butter, and they're on their own. There isn't really like a team like this because they're on the same team, but they each have different sponsors. They're wearing different gear. So now, while we're talking about Michael Phelps, I want to touch on this because he retired. Now, I always make fun of Brett Favre, how many times he retired and came back because he didn't have an internal identity and his identity was the gunslinger. What I want to point out Michael Phelps, when he came back from retirement, he did it for the right reasons. He got himself straight internally before he came back. So when he walked away and his life was a dumpster fire, right? That's why he went to rehab. It's the DUIs, the drinking. He fixed all that. And then he came back because he didn't want to end on that note. And so my hat's off to him. That is mental toughness 101. That's the redemptive arc that we had talked about and how we reinterpret our memories and how we reinterpret our past events. And so it's a great example of redemption, of doing it the right way, and why you would come back from retirement.
And I tell you what, after going through what he went through, going back into that arena, because when you're in that arena, there's a microscope. I mean, everyone's watching you, whether it's paparazzi, whether it's fans, and so when you
it's that South African guy doing the little conga dance in front of you right before you're about to go. Oh no, never mind.
Right. But when you screw up, you basically announce to the world, I'm human, right?
Right.
So this is your opportunity to get out. Okay, I've already messed up. I can get out of this world. I can leave. But he goes back into that world and accepts the challenge of being watched all over again, being under the microscope, doing all those things all over again, and on top of that, performing at a world-class level. So he went all in again.
Right.
With all things considered.
So, my hat's off to this guy. And I've always used this guy as how he's defined his own level of success. Remember, his level of success back in 2000, he was 15 years old, one of the youngest people ever to make the Olympics, if not the youngest. Just making the team was success for him. And then the next year when he gets to Athens, he wins the 5, gold. And that was very successful because he got gold medals. But remember in Beijing, he and his coach were huddled in that corner, and they had that little, cheat sheet, right? It was 8 or nothing, 8 gold medals. He wanted the record. That was his own success, right? And then when he did that, then when he came back in London, his success was dialed back down again. And now this time his success is to come back and do it right and have his act together right internally. He's a dad now, he's a responsible guy. He's got everything firing on all 8 cylinders from the outside looking in. And like you said, he's still put in the work and is competing at a world-class level. I love it, dude.
He's an example, and flaws and all. He's an example of what young people should aspire to be from beginning to end. You will hope that they would not experience the negatives, but they're human. It's going to happen. It's happened to the best of us. So that's going to come, and hopefully it goes after it comes. And it will. And he's an example. He's an American hero from an athletic standpoint, and I think that he should always be held up there in the annals of Olympic history.
Absolutely. Dutch, we're up on a break. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show. We'll be right back.